It's hard to trust a man who lies to you. You find yourself questioning anything he says. Is he telling me the truth this time? Can I believe him? Dishonesty, deception, whatever you call it, it comes down to the same thing. He could have told me the truth. He should have told me the truth. But he didn't. He tried to deceive me. Naturally, you want to know why he lies. I imagine you've asked him why, but you wonder if he gave you the real answer. That's probably why you're watching this. You want to know if someone can help you get a better understanding, open your eyes to what's going on. And it's very likely that you want to know if this is something that can be remedied. Will he always lie to me? Is there some way to stop this and get to the point where I can trust him again? Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Beam. If you'll spend a few minutes with me in this video, I believe I can give you insight. Obviously, I don't know your husband and can't speak directly about him, but I have read the research about lying, and I've worked with thousands of people over the last 25 years. By the way, we have many videos on YouTube that will give you answers to relationship questions. Subscribe below so that you can have access to all of them. Now, let's get to your situation. There are 3 common motivations that lead people to lie. Stay with me through all 3 because the last one may well be quite an eye-opener for you. When you understand that one, it can change the course of your marriage from this point on. The first reason that people lie is the one that most people think is the reason that anyone ever lies. It's not. And it may not have anything to do with why your husband lies to you, but because so many people who are lied to think that this is the only reason. Let's get it out of the way so we can get to the other 2 more fascinating reasons. So what is this first motivation or reason? I call it the liar. Some people have been lying all their lives. It started when they were young. Maybe it got them attention. Maybe they found they could manipulate people by lying. Or maybe they learned it by observing mom and dad. Whatever the reason, it became their pattern. Liars will lie when the truth would be better. They typically feel little to no guilt when they lie. No pang of conscience. To them, lying is just as acceptable as telling the truth. Sometimes they have trouble even knowing what the truth is. They create their own realities by making things up or by distorting facts. They become so good at deception that sometimes it even works on them. They can tell a lie so convincingly that they themselves believe it to be true, at least in a way. Liars are relatively rare. Therefore, my guess is that your husband isn't one. However, if your husband has been lying ever since you've known him, if he's so smooth that for a while you bought into anything he said, but now you think that he'd make an excellent con artist, then he may be this kind of liar. If so, don't expect a change to occur without help. If he is that kind of liar, you've caught him before. He first tried to lie his way out of that lie. Then, if that didn't work, he became so very sorry and promised you that he'd never lie to you again. But he did lie to you again, often for no reason that you can figure. Think of the liar as having a sort of sickness, if you will. Getting well from this, getting over it, nearly always requires professional help. With the right help, they can change this pattern and be the kind of person you can trust. If you're convinced that your husband is a liar, I suggest you ask him to get help. Assist him in finding it. If it's the right help, your lives will change in wonderful ways. If your husband refuses to get the help that he needs, you may love him enough that you stay with him the rest of your life. But you'll always be wary. Always check behind him. Rarely, if ever, take what he says at face value. As I've already said, my guess is that your husband is not that kind of liar. If you think he is, or if you're not sure, stay with me as I explain the other 2 kinds of liars. I think you may find one of them to be the reason that he lies. The second kind of liar is what I call the protective liar. That means that when he feels that the truth will hurt you, he won't tell you the truth. Either he hides it altogether, or he slants what he says in hopes that will somehow reduce the negative effect it'll have on you. I have a friend who for years was this kind of liar. He's a medical professional. His wife had a debilitating disease that would progress over the years. He loved her. He hated to see her in pain, not just the physical pain, but the mental and emotional pain as well. When she would ask him about what the future held, what comes next, how bad will it be, he never once gave her an honest answer. He felt the pain she endured was already too much. He didn't see how she could cope with knowing what would come next, what terrors lay ahead. The problem with protective lying is that the person you think you're protecting may lose confidence in you. After a while, they know that you're hiding the truth. After all, the information you give proves false time after time. They decide that you have no idea what you're talking about, or they become convinced that you won't tell them the truth, and they resent that. Of course, protective lying isn't always about physical problems. There are many things that someone who loves you might feel that he should protect you from. Money problems, potential job loss, people saying nasty things about you. The list is endless, but the results are similar. Now, some people might want the other to protectively lie. Lie to me to keep me from knowing what's really happening. However, most people resent it, at least after a while. What gives you the right to decide what I should and shouldn't know? What makes you think that you're stronger than I am, or that you're wiser, smarter, or whatever it is that makes you think you can deceive me when I ask you to tell me the truth? When my friend, the medical guy, finally realized the downside to protective lying, he started telling his wife the truth. Was that scary for her? Yes. But her fear was far more than offset by the peace she found in knowing what was coming rather than the terrifying guesses she'd been making. He thought he was protecting her by his lies. Instead, he really was protecting his own emotions. If your husband is lying because he's trying to protect you from something, and if you want to know the truth and not have him screen things for you, then tell him that. Calmly, with love, say something like, I know that what you're trying to do is keep me from hurting, but it's not working that way. It's making me not trust you, and that's hurting me more. Whatever it is that you feel you're protecting me from can't be as bad as losing my faith in you. Don't protect me. Tell me the truth. We'll face whatever it is together. Now, there's one other thing to mention here. It may be that the thing he's protecting you from is him. He may be into something or someone and feel he's protecting you by keeping you from knowing. If so, there's a way to deal with that. It's better if I explain that with a third kind of liar, the get out of trouble liar. This happens when he knows that what he's doing, or has done, conflicts with what you think of him or expect from him. I could give thousands of examples here of how people lie to get out of trouble. The underlying principle is this. They know that there's an expected standard of conduct, things that are right and things that are wrong, but they have violated that standard. Now, if your husband is that kind of liar, rather than taking the blame and facing you, he hides it, fabricates lies if he's caught, and covers that lie with more lies if the first one falls apart. If your husband is lying to you because he's covering up something, it may well be that what he's hiding is not something major. For example, it might be he spent a little too much, got a ticket, drank 3 beers with his friends, but told you he only had 1. If so, if it's not major, try not to react in a way that makes things worse. Now, I realize that you may be upset, but there's something important that you need to consider. Could it be that you, whether you mean to or not, operate more in the realm of a parent than that of a wife? Ask yourself why your husband, a grown man who can make his own decisions, make his own way in the world, is so afraid of your knowing that he made an error. Afraid enough that he chooses to lie rather than to tell you what he did. Yeah, I know. Some people are like that because of their own lack of self-esteem, because of things that happened when they were kids. Is that the case with your husband? Or, if you were to examine what's going on, would you discover it isn't something from earlier in his life? It has more to do with his fearing rejection from you. Does he dread the way you react to anything he does that doesn't meet your expectations? Maybe you get extremely upset. Maybe you yell, give condescending lectures, give him the cold shoulder, move him out of your bed and to the sofa for a day or two. Embarrass him in front of his children or in front of others by telling everyone what he does wrong, using his errors to make jokes at his expense. I could give a lot more illustrations, but I think you get the idea. In short, if he's lying to you in an effort to avoid your reactions, and the thing that he did or is doing isn't that big in and of itself, could that be telling you the effect that you have on him? If so, he may be lying to you now to avoid your reactions, but at some point, he very likely is going to have enough of the way you act toward him. No one wants to be treated as an inferior, as a person that's disrespected. If that's your situation, if your husband perceives you as controlling and that he had better toe the line if he wants to have peace, love, and joy, then there is a very strong likelihood of his someday deciding to leave you so that he can have a sense of his own self-worth. No, I'm not justifying his lying. I'm asking you to analyze whether he's lying to get out of trouble because of his own inner struggles of self-worth, or if he's trying to avoid you doing more harm to his sense of self. If that is the case, please, if you love him, find out how to change the way you interact. I suggest you call us about how we can help. Now, before I close, let me shift to one other area. It's still in the category of the get-out-of-trouble liar, but not for minor things. This has to do with when he's doing or is into something major. For example, we see that kind of liar when a husband is having an affair. He'll lie to his wife as long as he can. He'll lie to anyone in order not to be caught, or to justify his actions if he is caught. When we work with couples, nearly always we hear the spouse who was cheated on say, "The affair was horrible, but it's the fact that he lied so well and so long that rips me apart." Of course, the major thing may not be an affair. It could be gambling, addiction, pursuing another lifestyle. It's another one of those lists that could go on for a while. Whatever it is, if he's lying because of something major, something that is tearing or can tear your marriage apart, then the way you deal with it will set the course for your future. If you want to divorce him, handle it any way you wish. If you love him and want to save the marriage, then it's very important that you do not do things to make it worse. Things such as exploding in anger, paying him back for what he's done, setting boundaries that put him in a veritable emotional prison, threatening the woman he's involved with. You get the idea. Those kinds of things aren't going to help and very, very likely will make it worse. So if you want to save your marriage in a situation like this, what do you do instead? I can tell you the things to do that will work if anything will work. I'll tell you how to get that information in just a moment. But now let me ask, which kind of liar is your husband? If he's a liar, I strongly suggest you get him to a qualified therapist to help him change that behavior. If he's a protective liar, your best course of action is to have an open, caring conversation where you tell him how you feel about his protective lying. But be sure you do it without attacking him or making him feel bad in the process. If he's a get-out-of-trouble liar, then you have two things to consider. First, does he do that because of how you treat him? Because of the ways you react when he doesn't meet your standards? If so, please call us so that we can help. Or second, if it's because he's into something that big, major marriage trouble big, I also urge you to call us. We can help. I'm sorry that I'm out of time and can't give you more information in this video. However, we have a lot of free resources on our website, marriagehelper.com. Also, check out our videos here on YouTube to find what you need. The easiest way to do that is to subscribe below. And if you want to speak to us, give us a call at 866-903-0990. We'll help you find the best resource for your situation.